Sometimes in the computer industry there is history. Even things like virtual reality 6 years ago looked like the next hot thing. But looking back, things have changed. Howard Perlmutter was one of the people who was there from the beginning of the virtual reality, weren't you?
Well, I prefer virtuous reality to virtual reality myself, but yeah.
You did studies on these new technologies in those days, even before before the times that VPL was founded?
Yeah, well, I did this study for NASA Ames in 1980 and 81. It was entitled Interactive Computer Graphics, the Human Interface to Dynamic Simulation. It was all about how human beings will interact with the world of extremely powerful computers. In 1978, I was working on a supercomputer design with Burroughs for NASA to do weather simulation, atmospheric modeling, and I said to them, we're going to have a computer that's 20 times faster than the Cray, more powerful than anything that's ever been built. But how are human beings going to interact with it? And they said, that's not our department, that's not part of our contract. And I said, but it should be. And it took them from 1978 to 1980 to fund the study. And then I spent all year researching, gathering computer graphics, interviewing people, getting into the people who were in the research labs. Because it wasn't like this, it was only in a few research labs. So I pulled all that out and wrote a 700-page book. It was about 6 or 7 years before that visualization study from the NSF. It was many years before the VR or multimedia, or these various terms were popularized. It was, of course, before the Mac, before the PC.
Now, looking back, we're now in '97. Looking back on the promise that was there, did it happen? Did it came true?
Well, time is not linear. There are many, many tracks of what can be done, and some of those tracks have happened faster than might have been expected, and some have happened slower. So some of the things that happened faster than expected were what happened with semiconductors. What's happened slower than expected is the ecologically responsible use and, in general, the socially responsible use of the technology. Really, it hasn't been till people were able to get their hands on tools like the web that we've really had any outpouring of social responsibility relating to technology, even though those of us who were envisioning the use of this technology for these purposes were some of the main people creating the technology in the 70s.
But now, the world, we are here at the Digital Be-In, the world is waking up through the internet and the global awareness that we can do things together more easily than doing them separate.
Well, the internet allows us to connect up with each other and allows us to, first of all, get the tools that we need to be able to create our futures. A lot of people are thinking that they are still in an adversarial situation against each other or against their natural environment. What is happening is people are moving from a destructive relationship with the world to a creative relationship with the world, and people are empowering themselves using these tools to be creative. Where we need to go and what the internet allows is the possibility of being co-creative, where we can actually create together using these tools of co-creation, collaboration. So that's what the internet is allowing us to move through. But there's a further stage that really has not happened yet. And that stage is eco-creation. From creation to co-creation to eco-creation, from personal winning to win-win to a higher stage of win-win-win, where I win, you win, and the whole planet wins at the same time. So we are not yet at a place where the promise of this technology has really been fulfilled. There's much more to be done.
Maybe, but isn't it the world coming round full circle in the sense that we had a reasonably okay world a few thousand years ago, then technology came around and, well, fucked it up.
I don't agree. I don't agree. No, I don't agree. First of all, to say that it used to be good is our over-romanticizing of things. There's one of my friends keeps reminding me of a title that You know, the good old days were horrible. There's been pain and suffering ever since people had a consciousness of pain and suffering. And there has always been death, there's always been disease. But the question is that right now there is a new situation happening on our planet that's never happened before, and that is one species has come to a point of dominance on the planet to the extent that not only is there a massive die-off of other species, a massive reduction in the amount of plant life at the hands of animals, not only human beings but also cattle that are used for food for humans, to the point where we are affecting the biochemistry of the planet in such a way that it's possible that we could cause a non-linear collapse that could destroy all higher-end life on the planet. So we're at a point where for the first time in human history, we are able to leave the planet, circumnavigate the planet, communicate around the planet, able to do all sorts of things that never happened before. This is a very special time in history. It is not a question of a romanticizing of the good old days, but it's a matter of being appropriate to what's going on here and now. And in particular, it's not a matter of saving the planet. The planet will be here even when all sentient life has killed itself off. It is a matter of ecological health where human beings are healthy, thriving in harmony with other beings, other plants, other animals. The whole ecosystem is healthy. We need to bring the system back to a state of health and to keep it healthy. But that's only half your question, because that's talking about the ecos. Now let's talk about technes, the technology. Technology is also part of nature. Our fingernails are part of our bodies, part of nature, but they are also technology. The claws are the technology that came through earlier forms of evolution. If you look at animals as plants that have a more indirection, they're like, if you imagine in computer science you have direction and indirection and multiple levels of indirection. You have, for example, platform independence. Well, human beings have family trees but are not physically connected. So that's what differentiates animals from plants. Well, human beings have gone to the next level where parts of our bodies are not attached to our bodies. Tools, in other words. We're modular animals. So these microphones that you're holding are modular ears. The glasses we're wearing are modular parts of our bodies.
This sounds McLuhanese a bit.
Oh, he was very much into this. And in fact, so when you realize that technology is an extension of our bodies, and it's part of the larger revolution that's going on, then you see it as part of nature. But I think it's important that people understand a more subtle cultural thing about technology. Technology comes from the word technology comes from technes, which means to weave. Weaving is the first technology. It is the first craft. Technology means to shape and to create. Now, those of us who believe that creative activity is a good thing have to believe that technology could be a good thing, because the very act of creating is the essence of technology. What we need to do is to bring the well-being of the home, the ecos, together with the crafts of making the home, which is technes. You wouldn't want to pollute or destroy your own home, and yet part of making your home is to weave the cloth, make the bowls, and by extension all the things that we have. The key is that most synthetics have a bad name because they come from a faulty synthesis. Technology, to the extent it has a bad name, comes from a faulty synthesis, not thinking holistically, not thinking globally, not seeing the big picture. When we see the big picture, when we complete the cycle, when we are able to bring together opposites, get beyond Aristotelian logic of it's either true or false, but actually see the truth and falsity in everything, then we are having a perspective that's sufficiently holistic that we can come up with a good synthesis that will be a healthy synthesis, so that we can make synthetics that don't have the problems, the polluting, the toxicities that we associate with synthetics. We would actually be an agent of nature in harmony with nature rather than cutting off our own sustenance. So I want to be very careful in, I'm not speaking about technology being good in all cases or being bad in all cases. It is a matter of human responsibility. What is lacking in the computer business in general is a sense of social responsibility, of ecological responsibility, or just of responsibility. Because people think that they cannot shape the technology for its further purpose. The way technology development is financed pulls things away from their creators. It's like taking children away from their parents and sells them into the marketplace, the equity markets, for example, in a way that prevents people from looking after the longer-term worldwide effects of their creations. See?
This is Howard Perlmutter with quite a vision on the future, but now, reality now, what are your plans? What are you doing in this increasingly digital world? What is your...
Well, as you know, I've been programming computers for 20 years. Well, actually 25 years now. Gee, time's really going. I started playing with computers in '64. The first time I was on television as one of these computer whiz kids was '68. Started programming in '71, and I've been in business since '77. In fact, I'm going to be celebrating next month my 20th anniversary of being a freelance programmer and doing software development next month. Some of the things that I'm doing currently, certainly I've been very active in terms of web activity, in terms of a variety of areas in the internet, but I'm also working on creating soft spaces that are convivial to human beings, wherein we can do software work. And this has been a track that I've been on for many years.
Because you live actually in Harbin Hot Springs, which is not a commune, but a community.
Well, actually, that's not where I live these days. but actually, what I have been I've lived most of the last 15 years in natural environments, and what I've actually been doing is working to make it. For example, we've got a new location, and we're just putting in our T1 line now. And we're creating so we're both in the midst of nature, out in the trees, but able to have 100 megabit Ethernets connected to 1.5 megabit T1 links and we're probably going to be putting in higher bandwidth links to the internet. So we are practicing what we're preaching by creating a convivial, humane way for us to be healthy and happy and contribute. People should not have to be martyrs to do what's good for the planet or for society. I believe that people who do what's good for the general world should be rewarded, and so my work is making it possible to support and reward those who do what's ecologically responsible, or we might say creative technology for healthy ecology.
Okay, in short, embedded technology.
Sure, and of course, some of the software that I'm working on these days, I think is going to take us beyond where the internet is, beyond creativity, into co-creativity, and into eco-creativity.
This was Howard Perlmutter at the Digital Bee in San Francisco. Thank you.